Hi everyone, my name is Milecia McGregor and I'm a developer advocate at iterative.ai, which is completely unrelated to this, but we do machine learning software where we make experiments easy for you. But today I'm going to be talking to you about using Prisma in a full stack Redwood app. So if you have any questions about this during or after the talk, you can always reach out to me on Twitter at Flipped Coding, where you'll see I do front end, back end, DevOps, security, machine learning, VR. If you can use JavaScript for it, I've probably tried to use it somewhere. So that is how we ended up with this talk about Redwood. To get started, I always like to give just a quick little overview of what we'll be talking about. So we'll start off by explaining what Redwood actually is. Then we're going to do something that, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Most of this talk is just going to be a live demo of actually getting Prisma to set up a database, migrate schema, and get a working full stack app. So we'll jump into the code and set up the app. Then we'll set up our Postgres schema with Prisma. And finally, we'll make our front end and back end all integrate with this database. And at the end, I just have a few points that I hope you take away from today. And with that being said, let's start talking about what Redwood is. So Redwood is a full stack framework that uses React for the front end, GraphQL for the back end, and Prisma to handle all of the database needs. And something you'll see throughout this talk is that Redwood has a lot of commands that just do stuff for you. Typically, I don't like black box type framework stuff, but Redwood makes it pretty easy to go in and edit the files however you need. So, with that being said, let's just jump into this live code part. So I'm gonna try to switch to, ta-da, we have a VS Code thing set up. So I'm gonna show you the command that you would use to make a new Redwood app. It'll be this yarn create Redwood app and then the name of your app. But I'm not going to run it because it does take a few minutes to get Redwood completely set up, but I'll show you why. So over here, you'll see all of these files and folders. Redwood makes those automatically for you. But the main ones we'll be looking at are this .env file, will be in the API folder, which handles all of our Prisma stuff with the database and all of our GraphQL stuff for the back end. And we have this web directory, which handles all of our React front end stuff. So to go ahead and get started, I'm gonna go in the .env file and uncomment this database URL line. So if you have Postgres set up locally, you'll go ahead and put in your local connection string. So I don't mind you guys knowing my local password stuff is probably the same as yours. And I'll call this database Prisma Day. All right, so now we have our Postgres connection set up. We're gonna come inside the schema.prisma and change our provider to PostgreSQL because we're not using SQLite. And you'll see where we bring in that database URL. And now down here is where it gets fun. So Redwood has this example model schema for us, and we can go ahead and start making our own. So this app is just gonna be a really, really simple user dashboard. You can add different kinds of users, and you can have items that are maybe in different locations. So we'll just have 3 tables with the schema for these things. So first up, we have a user, and I'm gonna leave all of this the same. Then we'll have a location, which it'll have an ID, and we'll make it an int and go ahead with this auto increment. So this ID at default auto increment, that means that we're telling Postgres, this is our primary key for the table, and we want you to just default the next number every time a row is added to the table. So that's what we're doing with that. And we'll just give the location a name. And lastly, we'll add our item model. So this will have an ID, same as the others. So I'll just copy and paste that. And it'll have a name. I wonder why that looks like that. We're gonna hope that's not an error for no reason. And it's just, model, not modal. There we go. So we'll have an SKU, which will be a string. And then lastly, we'll have our items attached to a location. So the way we do that with Prisma is with relations. And we will make a location ID field, and the reference will be to our location table. And we'll base that with the ID, and we'll come down here and make this foreign key location ID. So do some formatting there, and ta-da, we have our entire schema set up with Prisma. So we have a relation here which makes this location ID like a foreign key on the item table that references a row on the location table. And then this unique attribute, it just says, hey, this field can only have unique values. So no two email addresses can be the same. And last thing we need to do before we go ahead and migrate this schema to our database, let's add some seed data. So seed data is just some initial data that you add to your database when you spin up a new one. So with prod, that might be adding, I don't know, a list of drop-down options that you know aren't going to change, or maybe you need to set up a default user or something. That's what seed data is normally used for. So I'm gonna delete a bunch of stuff because Redwood does come chock full of comments, but we don't really need them. So I'm gonna delete some more stuff. So got rid of that, and I'm gonna uncomment this. Get rid of a little bit more stuff, and I think that's it. Yeah. So I just deleted a bunch of stuff. Nothing too crazy there, hopefully. But we're going to go ahead and create a new user, a new location, and a new item. So I'm going to copy and paste this a couple of times, and we're going to update it to match whatever table we're seeding. So first, we know our user has a name and an email, and I'm just going to hard code that in here because we're just adding one user. So we have Kaya at test@best.com, and then we'll add something to our location, which is just going to be the name. So I'll call this Compound North. And last, we have our item that we need to seed, which has a name, an SKU, and a location ID. So, I don't know, Morning Glory. We'll give it an SKU of me hitting random keys, and a location ID of 1. So I'm putting 1 here because when this is seeded, it'll have an ID of 1 because of this default auto increment. So we already know what location we're attached to. So with all of this in place, let's go in the terminal and run yarn rw prisma migrate dev. And this is just gonna make our new migration. So it's asking for a name right here, and I'll just call this initial migration. All right, sweet. So I always clear the terminal. I don't know why. I guess it just bothers me if it's not clear. But I'm gonna switch over to PG admin so we can take a look at that new database. So I'll refresh. You see we have our Prisma Day database. If we go and check out the tables, we got the item, location, and user. And right now there is nothing in them. So we'll head back over to VS Code where we will seed the database. So we'll do that with yarn rw prisma db seed, and this will run our seed stuff here, and it says it's been seeded. So let's see if we have data now. So if I hit play up here, oh my gosh, look at that, we have a name. If we go over here to the item, look at that. We have that SKU, we have our name, location ID, we are good to go. So that is how you handle creating schemas with Prisma. It's how you see data with Prisma. It's how you migrate with Prisma. It was all pretty fast, wouldn't you say so? Like, that took maybe 7-ish minutes? I don't know. I'm trying to time it, but maybe I'm off by a little bit. Anyways, so you've seen how to make your database schema. We've seeded some data. Now let's talk about how we can integrate all of this with Redwood. So I'm gonna briefly switch back over here just so that I can change the slide. So we set up our Postgres schema with Prisma, and now we're integrating everything. So what that means for us is a bunch of Redwood commands. The first thing we're gonna do, I'll close out these just so we keep things clear, but I'm gonna blow your mind with this one because it blew mine. We're gonna run yarn redwood generate scaffold, and we'll do this for user. So what this scaffold command is going to do, it finished a lot faster than I expected, but what it does, it creates actually, I'll just show you what it did. So over here in the API directory, we have this new users SDL, and it defines our GraphQL schema for the users schema. So all of these mutations, all of these types were created based on that schema we made with Prisma. And we didn't do anything to get this. We just ran one command. Then you'll see here in the services, we actually have our resolvers for all of those mutations and queries. So you can create a user, you can get multiple users, one user, delete them. It's all here for you. And we have tests, and we have like test data. It's beautiful. So that's the whole backend set up for you. All of your GraphQL stuff ready to go. So if we come over here to the web, look at this components folder. We have something for our user form to add new users. We can edit them. Edit them? Yes, we can edit them. You can look at a table of them. It has everything there. If there was a particular layout you want to apply to all of your user routes, it's here. Then in the pages, we have 4 new pages for our users, so it's just there. Like, everything is just here. It even updated the routes for us. And if that's not mind-blowing, I'm going to clear the terminal and run the whole app with yarn rw dev and give it a little second to get going. So sorry if it sounds like I'm super pushy on Redwood. It just blows my mind every time. I'm like, I can't believe this thing just does this out of the box. So over here in the browser, yeah, I'm gonna say that's right. So let's go to the users route. And oh my gosh, it's already there. Like, this is our table that we didn't write anything for. It has our entry from the seed data we made. If you come over here and click edit, you can update this in any way. I don't know, test the best. And it's updated for us. We can add a new user just to show that everything's connected. And it's there. Like, everything is just there from that one command. So if I delete Kaya, that goes away. And then just to prove to you all of this is updating like it looks like it is, I'm gonna come over here to the user table. And if you noticed, we just have Damien in here. Kaya is gone. And just to prove it one more time, I'm gonna come over and wait, let me get back to the browser. So I'm gonna add another user. Let's add Jacob. And just like that, Jacob is there. We go back over to PG admin, play this, and boom, there's Jacob right there. So this is how you can do things with Redwood really fast. Like, we just set up an entire database, a GraphQL backend, and a React frontend in less than 20 minutes. That, I don't know. Like I said, maybe I'm just a Redwood fangirl, but that just blows my mind. It was that fast. We didn't have to write any of this. Of course, you should really know about how GraphQL and Prisma and React work before you just jump into Redwood, but if you have a decent grasp on those things, it's just easier to get started with something that's already there for you. So now that I've shown you how to set all of this up, it's time for me to go ahead and wrap things up. So here's some key takeaways. Prisma makes it super easy to work with data from different databases. So we just used Postgres here for an example, but it works with SQLite. I think they've added MongoDB support. So you have plenty of options if you decide to use Prisma. And then Redwood, as you see, it lets you make a full stack app pretty quick. Like 20 minutes or less, you can have your entire startup bootstrapped. And just try out random stuff you find online. Like, I didn't even know Redwood existed until sometime last fall, and I just kind of stumbled upon it. Like, there was no real reason that I found Redwood. It just happened. So if you find those random things online, don't be afraid to try them out because they might become your favorite new tool. So my name's Milecia, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at FlippedCoding. Thank you.
Milecia, thank you for the insightful talk. It's always fun to see Redwood in action.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're going to do a live Q&A. So to our viewers, if you have any questions, now is the right moment to drop your questions in the Prisma Day Slack channel. So Let's get right into it. Milecia, you ready?
Yeah, bring it on.
All right. So one of the first questions that came up is, how can you add more complex table relationships with Prisma?
So to do that, you'll just have to use a bunch of those relation tags on different fields in your model, and you can make many to many relationships. You can make one to many. It's just making sure you're referencing the right fields in those relations. So it's pretty easy to just keep adding things as you need them.
Mm-hmm. And that all starts sort of with the Prisma schema and then sort of, right. And can you manually create all the files generated by Redwood, or do you have to use the commands to create them?
Oh, you can definitely manually create everything. It's just if you have your schema defined before you have already started making files, Redwood generates a bunch of stuff for you right from the beginning. But after that, you can feel free to just make whatever files you would like normal.
So a bit of good old copy pasta if you're not. All right. We also had a question from, I believe it was from Yogi, who asked if there's any ETA for custom email and password authentication in Redwood. Is that something that you have an answer for?
I know that there's already some auth integration with like Auth and I want to say AWS Cognito. But if you take a look at the docs, there's some auth integration already in there.
Cool. So I guess we'll be also dropping a link to that in the Slack channel. And we had another question that just came in, which was, do you ever feel like you're being limited by Redwood?
Ooh, that is a good question. Not really. It's like I said, if you have the Prisma schema already before you start making the app, it's easier to get the files auto-generated. But as you work with it, they don't do a lot of, like black box magic. You can go in and edit all of the files later, however you want. So I don't feel limited with it, or at least I haven't pushed it hard enough to find those limits.
Right. Let's see if we have any other questions. Okay. Looks like we have no questions from the audience. This is your last chance. And I guess I have one final question. Generally speaking, when you're building, and what is the sort of the first thing that you like to do? Do you like to dive into code? Are you more of you start data modeling first with perhaps the Prisma schema? What's sort of your first step when you start a new application?
For me, I always like to start with my data model just because, I don't know, that's how I think. I can start with the front end, but it feels a little weird for some reason. But I usually start with my data schema and build everything out from there.
Great. Well, on that note, Milecia, I want to thank you once again for joining us. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience. And I hope to see you soon, either at a Prisma meetup or one of the other community events that we host.
Yeah, thanks again for having me.